Okay, hey everybody, welcome. My name is Amir and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I do a little bit of wholesome life advice, personal development, careers, money, self-development, and conversations on our connected world. So today's episode, I really wanted to talk to you about what I would do if I had millions of dollars in the bank. So on today's video, I really wanted to break down our relationship to money. I find money fascinating. I think it takes up so much of our lives. We're always either working or trying to earn money. So much of our modern modern living is focused around earning money, keeping money, saving money, investing money, or buying things. And a lot of that stems from our like modern culture where we're expected to have a lot of money, not really think about it, but then be able to afford and do all these things all the time. And this is referenced in pop culture, it's referenced in conversations with our friends and family. It's everywhere. And actually, I wanted to sit down and really break down what money means to me and how I would use it. So take this video, this is a bit of a silly video. But I was thinking recently about what I would actually do if I had millions and millions and millions of dollars, or like billions even. If I had so much money that I never had to think about money ever again, what would I do with it? And I wanted to have this video because I realized some really fun and interesting things along the way. I am fascinated about money. I find money so interesting. I find it crazy how we all need money, we all think about money, but actually, there's very little conversations on what money means, how we use it, the role it plays in our life. And what really gets me is that money is a fictional concept. It is something that we have made up. It's a social contract between two parties. So, in purely economic terms, in the olden days, people used to barter stuff. They used to if you had some beans and someone had some rice, you would trade those. And then they realized they needed a divisible unit of currency that you could use to buy lots of things. So they invented money. And money is something that, now has gone from even in my childhood being like paper and coins to actually being quite virtual and um, things you kind of see in like a mythical bank account or you use on a credit card, and you don't really interact with money as much. But the way we grew up thinking about money and the way that we act around money is something that has such a deep and profound effect on our daily lives, on the way we shop, on the way we think, on the way we interact with other people. And so I'm really interested in how it affects human society in general. Okay, I can't find it right now, but I'm gonna find a quote, hopefully, on how money allowed. So I was reading a book recently. It's called Wintering by Catherine May, and in that she interviews different people about their experiences of living with all sorts of like dark and difficult times. And one of the things she talks about is rest and retreat, and debt. And she talks to a person who has gotten into some management, money difficulties, and how money was something that helped her live a bigger life than when you don't have a big life. It's a way of like living vicariously. Okay, so I thought to myself, what would I actually do if I had all the money in the world? And I'm talking about the kind of money that is like billions and billions, not just having a good income and having a good job and having a nice life, but really so much money that you can't like fathom what to do with it. And although I come from a background in international development, so I've always worked in sort of the charity and nonprofit world. I think there's a lot of charitable and nonprofit causes that I would give significantly to if I had all the money in the world. I would love to donate to programs that did long-term sort of development, health, education, water, sanitation, and like emergency assistance around the world. That is what I think I would spend a big chunk of money on if I had it. But in my personal lifestyle, I've been thinking about what I would actually spend money on, and the answers actually fascinated me. So if you haven't tried this, I would really highly recommend giving it a go. Sit down, take a pen and paper, and really sit down and list what you would spend your money on. Okay, so the first thing that I would actually spend money on if I had all the money in the world is business or first class tickets everywhere. Now, I'm quite fortunate. I actually fly quite a lot. I live between India and the UK. I travel quite frequently. I used to have a job that involved a lot of travel. I have friends and family in different parts of the world, so I often travel to meet them or for events. So I'm on the go quite a lot, and but I always fly coach simply because I've always been very careful about how much money I spend. It's always been cheaper, so I always buy economy class tickets. And I really think if I haven't even thought about it until recently because I'm very comfortable flying coach and it's not something that I've even thought of. But if I had all the money in the world, I think I would start flying business class or first class, especially long haul. I would let myself sleep better, and I would try and like let myself arrive more comfortable at a new place. So that is what I would spend money on. Now, I know this is a bit of a premium service, and this isn't something that I absolutely need, and I'm very happy flying coach, very comfortable. But I think if I had literally money to burn, um, then that is something that I think I would actually spend on is better seats on a plane so that I could sleep well, um, watch TV, and arrive at my destination in relative comfort. I've never actually flown business class, so maybe this is something I would like to try in the near future. And I will report back. From what I can read online, the difference between business and first class is actually the price is quite significant, but the luxury isn't that much. So I don't know. I think maybe this is something that I try out in the new year, but I would really love to try flying business class a few times, see what it's like, and maybe that's where I would spend my money. I would hire a personal chef to make me delicious, healthy meals that I knew that I could eat anywhere, that were like nutrient dense, that use lots of fresh ingredients. I enjoy cooking, but doing it every day can be a bit of faff. So I would love to have somebody who really loved it cooking, who I could pay a very fair wage to come and cook, plan, prep my meals for me so that it would take the like stress out of cooking. That is what I would love. The third thing that I would spend on is taxis. So at the moment, I use a lot of public transport, although I do have a car and my husband drives. A lot of the time, I, as a person, take public transport. I love taking public transport. I find it very efficient and very comfortable. And I think if I had all the money in the world, I would just maybe take taxis a little bit more. I would take taxis between events, or I would take taxis if I had to get across the city. Although I do take taxis every now and then, something about like my student mindset means that I always just hop on the bus or I take the train everywhere. But actually, if I had all the money in the world, I would consider taking taxis more. And this is because I think it just saves me actually having to buy a car and driving myself around. It saves the hassle of parking. It saves the hassle of parking tickets. I would just do taxis if I had all the money in the world. Okay, so the thing that I wouldn't spend a lot of money on is actually a lot of designer items. I think if I had all the money in the world, I would spend a little bit on things that I really like. Like maybe I would pick a couple of designers that I really liked, whose stuff I thought was really cool or interesting, and I would probably buy a couple of like statement pieces, a couple of like, just like a couple of pairs of like long lasting shoes or long lasting bags that I know that I could wear for years to come, and that would really be very durable or very good quality. I would not buy lots of like things that were trendy or in fashion or that I could just wear a couple of times and get rid of. I would not do that. So I think even if I had all the money in the world, I probably wouldn't spend much on designer labels, just because I don't think that a lot of designer labels are actually that much better than their high street equivalents. I think there's a lot of ways to get the kinds of things that you like, and ultimately I think fashion is really about like self-expression and looking and feeling your best and being cool and comfortable in the way that you are. So I wouldn't spend all my money on buying very, very cool designer pieces or what everybody thought was fashionable. I wouldn't do that. I also don't think I would spend any money on things like status symbol items. So I don't think I would buy like a private jet or a boat or all these things that I think in theory could be great, but in reality that I would hardly ever use. So I wouldn't buy a personal jet because of the environmental impact of it. I would be much happier flying business class or first class on a commercial airline. I also wouldn't buy something like a boat or something that's very subjective, just because if I really wanted a boat, if I wanted to go and have a party with a bunch of friends on a boat, I would just rent a boat. And I think when you understand that you don't need to buy all these things to have all these things, to enjoy the experiences that a lot of these things bring, I feel like I would still get a lot of satisfaction and still enjoy my time and my money in a way that felt right to me. This has been a really eye-opening exercise for me, because I think at one point I used to think, well, if I just earn more money, then I'll be more comfortable. But actually, earning more money has helped me realize that money and comfort and how much satisfaction you get out of it. I think for a long time I used to think, at one point I used to ask myself, like, how much money would I have to be like, would I need to have be like, okay, well, I have enough. And I don't think there is an answer. I think if you earn more money, you'll just want to spend more money. And I think, so the truth is, actually, when I worked it out about what I would really, really actually spend money on if I had all the money in the world, I'm coming up blank. There's not really that much that I would spend on that I don't spend on now. When I did this, it actually it made me feel a lot more satisfied with my life, because actually a lot of the things that I wanted are within reach or can be substituted or used for a much lower price. So, for example, I thought, like, I live in London. If I really had all the money in the world, I would get my own personal car and driver. But the truth is, I took a bus into London the other day, and the traffic was horrendous. I don't know if I'd want a car and driver all the time. I think it would really stress me out if I had a car and driver waiting for me outside when I wasn't going outside. Actually being able to just take a taxi where I wanted, it gives me the same results, and actually is a lot less stress. It's modular, it's flexible. So I think with a lot of different things that I'm looking at, I think that the more flexible, modular they are, and the more ways that I can use them conveniently, just as and when, it means that I have a lot of options to, like, live a life that's very comfortable, and to me it feels quite like a celebrity's life, without actually having to worry that much about money. And that has been like an eye-opening exercise for me, that, like, even if I had all the money in the world, there are a few things I do differently, sure, but not that much. And because of that, I feel really, really satisfied, really happy, and really comfortable with my own level of money. So if this isn't something you've done before, give it a go. Sit down and write down what you would actually spend money on if you had all the money in the world, and I would love to hear your answers. So drop them in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and if you like more of these videos, please comment and subscribe to the channel, and I will come back with more. Thanks very much. See you next time. Bye.